Just want to put in a little plug about it in Yiniget Limud Rambam with my free advice. I feel like maybe I'm the modern day Shmuel Isaac. I don't know. You could say Midvas bin Chazogir, but I think I have a thought. I want to share it. We're starting the new cycle of Rambam. I know for myself, and I think I'm not unique. For many, many years, I dare say decades, the Limud Rambam was basically a joke for much of it. I tell people that I'm a Lubavitcher Chassid, and from the beginning of the Takana, I always kept Rambam. What does it mean, kept Rambam? Very often I would wonder if I could do it at night, because it's a gather of like Amidas Tilim. Or even more accurately, kept Rambam means that every day, for all these years, my Rambam was always on the right page. There was always a placeholder in the right place. More than that, I felt stupid. I felt like I'm lying to myself. But you know what I mean? And this is what happened for a long time. Obviously, in certain parts of the Rambam, the Ziki, Kinni, Mishpatim, Sheftim would get better, but still was far from what it needs to be. And then, let alone Taras and Kedusha or the Kachim, Chulu. It was to say a Chuchat Lula would be an understatement. I remember sitting once in Milwaukee. I was invited to be a guest speaker for some event, and sitting next to Rabbi Shalom Senior, while the program is going on, and like a good Lubavitcher, I have my Dvar Malchus sitting there. I got to take care of my Rambam. I got to do my Rambam. And Beina Lebeina, between the speakers, I basically go through it as my minhag was for many years and decades. So basically, I don't know, reading it, scanning it. Within 15 minutes, I went through it. And when I finished, I put it away. Yisrael Shmatkin, who's Chassidish Yid, and he's an honest guy, and he's a friend of mine, turned to me after I put away the Rambam, and he said, basically, the techen was, who did you lie to, yourself or to the Rebbe? It took me a second to even process it, because to me this was such a habit. Like, this wasn't even a lie. This was a nasas lo yikaheter. You know what I mean? This is it. This is what we do. I just did Rambam, and it made me start to think. Planted a seed in my head. Fast forward, I'm going to say 4 or 5 years ago, I started to introduce Limud Rambam to my community because of the Josh Gordon classes. We started a whole chat group of 25 guys doing Rambam. It dwindled down. Maybe it's now up to 10 or 12 that are keeping it. Guys are learning Perek Yachad L'Yayim with Josh, and they're liking it. Some parts more than others. And then after a little while, I said to myself, Lo Mani Gora, what about me? Why shouldn't I learn with him? I started listening to Josh. It's long, but after a short while, you get used to him. You're able to listen to him on 3 speed without much of a problem. Some days I'll use other teachers. I'm reading it. I'm not just listening to it. I'm reading it on the screen. I'm saying the words. I'm not saying the words, but I'm looking at it as the screen scrolls up with the Chabad.org website or Chabad.org apps, which are amazing. And I'm learning Rambam. And I'm saying to myself, oh my God, look at this halachas I never knew. It's Mamisha, Teira Chadasha. Gatzir Chalakim, Kalim, and this, and levels of Tara, Tumah, Echmein, Kahena, Vakahena. I'm partially able to understand the Rambam. I'm not going to say that I'm learning Gliyun, but Kiddush HaMilos at least, of pretty much any of the halachas, maybe with the exception of Kiddush HaChedesh. And even that part of it. And I said to myself, this is incredible. Like, I'm not lying to myself, I'm not lying to the Rebbe, and I'm not living in La La Land. You know what I mean? If anything, Chabad is not supposed to be is lying. You know what I mean? We're supposed to be Zeistas, Chabad is Primis. And here I'm doing the Rebbe's Takona. It's a joke. So I'm sharing this. I've since had opportunities to speak in Rikuzi Anash for many opportunities, whether it's Siyam Rambam or Yemid Pag Fabringen, and invariably I share this thought. And Hashem Zechap, I could be sitting, in holy communities of Anash, with Spitz Chabad or whatever, and I just tell the story. Just like I just told you here. And people come over to me later at a Kinus or in 770 or B'Yoel. Pashut, Spitz Chabadniks, classmates of mine, you name it. And they say, you don't understand, thank you. I started to learn Rambam for the first time, even though I've been keeping Rambam for 40 years. I heard this from Kol, Haminim, Ale, Shein, Negutayidin, Anash, Shluchim, you name it. I started to realize that to really learn 3 Prakim Rambam out of the Sefer is a hard thing for a majority. I don't want to say Rubin Kukulam, maybe, I don't want to say that this is the majority. That's certainly the majority. I'm not going to say it's the vast majority, although I suspect that it is. Certainly with those halachas that are a little more challenging, and even with the regular halachas of Dinim Mamonis. So Kayetzi was but to be menakes your head for 3 Prakim, even 1 Perek, but 3 Prakim certainly, and to follow all the details, and those halachas tend to be longer Prakim. it's just not so practical for most guys. And here it's very practical. It's very practical. You know what I mean? And again, I'm looking at the screen, I'm following along. If I want, I could actually say the words, but I'm understanding what's happening. You're not the Yitzhak, you can't make a birchas atayre. So I could just share that I feel good about this, that Pashat, many tzendlika have told me that they started learning Rambam, they're seeing brachas. I'm seeing brachas. You know, recently they passed around from on the WhatsApp from Shmuel David Rachik that he asked to have a bracha for somebody who needed a moifetz. The guy wanted him, the Yid wanted Reichik to make the moifetz. The Reichik told him, but I'll write to the Rebbe. So he wrote to the Rebbe, he says, that conversation, and the Rebbe said, tell him to learn Rambam, but the Rebbe makes him. And then apparently he told Reichik that it's not a Hayrah Pratis, that he can share this as a source of Mefsim anytime he wants to, which he did. Also, there's a lot of shmuas, a colored pasuk, that the Rebbe told people that it went up to the Chavis and Rambam and up to the Chavis. Some people say it happened with Pliny and Pliny then Pliny. Some people say that one is true, isn't true. In fact, it's a colored pasuk, and quite of Levadi that it happened at least once and maybe more than once. I've seen it myself. I mean, I carried in the last 5-6 years, literally turned around and I made Tzal Merchav in the Yonim from Chavis. I'm very friendly with a young man who went to Yeshiva with me, who's in business, and he was lacking in Limud Rambam, lacking in the Kfisitim L'Teira. So I pushed him into it. I said, you have to have something. And he started doing it, and he didn't like it. He didn't like it because it started with the Yonim of Kachim and Yonim of Taris. Pasha told me he hates it, but he was doing it for a while. And then at some point I spoke to him and he told me how much he dislikes it. So I told him, okay, so maybe do something else. Maybe learn Gemara. You know, it has to be limud makom shalibi chafetz. I wanted him to take on a kfi sitim. So he said, I'm going to look for something else, but I'm not giving up the Rambam because it's pashit. I see it in Parnasa. He tells me, he said, I had a deal that was supposed to close and it was schlepping, and I slacked off on Rambam. I was mash limit, and that day I made 2 deals. So he saw right away that it works. You do them for him. I'm sharing it. It's at the beginning of the cycle, and the skashas that you feel is unbelievable. You're not learning Tifin Mechsidis, you're not learning the Rebbe's Teda, you're partially learning Rambam. But everyone knows that this is the Rebbe's Takana, and this is the Rebbe spoke about it endlessly, every single time. You know what I mean? I saw a video recently where the Rebbe speaking about the Siyumei Rambam, and Divas can ton them, and everyone's for sure ton them, and Divas don't ton them merer, or Divas don't ton them noch merer. You know what I mean? And I'm looking at it, I'm thinking to myself, I was embarrassed. Like, was habe ich getan for Siyumei Rambam garnished? So I decided maybe this is my status as Siyumei Rambam. To put this voice note out. And for anyone who's interested in Mashmil Azik, there you have it. Yedidom, Shalom Moshe, Paltiel, Kultuv.